This is Hot Take Hockey.
And yeah, we lost again.
Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video, and this video is going to be my review and reaction to the Leafs All or Nothing series. So through Amazon Prime, 5 episodes I got to watch over the last few days, and I just want to give my quick thoughts. I'm not going to go too heavy into it, but just kind of episode by episode somewhat, and also just give my overall thoughts on the series. Obviously, if you've been aware, you know what happened last year, you know the disappointment, but I think watching this series actually gave me a lot of perspective, and I think at the same time, and I think people need to understand this, they probably kept a lot out. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot in there where it wasn't included, but we saw a lot behind the scenes. We did. So just to kind of start off, I'm not going to do heavy spoilers, but if you haven't watched, keep in mind, maybe you're not watching this whole video, but just at the start here, my initial thoughts, my overall thoughts on the series, I thought they did it really well. I thought the quality of the product was there. I thought you saw a lot of personality. I'll just say right off the bat, I was a little disappointed because I didn't feel like we saw a lot from Morgan Riley. I thought we saw a lot of Jumbo Joe, which was really cool. I thought we saw a lot of Jack Campbell, of course. I thought we saw a decent amount of like Justin Hall, Jake Muzzin. We saw a lot of Matthews, of course. We saw a lot of Nylander, of course, and Marner. And then, yeah, obviously the Tavares incident was a big thing that started right at the 5th episode. But yeah, we didn't see a lot of Riley, which I'm kind of surprised with his personality. We just saw the let's go white or let's go blue at the start of each game going out from the dressing room. But yeah, obviously a lot of other guys we didn't see too much from, but I think that was more because of personality based. Like, we didn't see a lot of Brody. I would say we didn't see a lot of like Brooks, but I guess that's not a huge surprise. But obviously the one scene, I think middle of the series with Brooks and Matthews playing a video game. And I'm trying to think, like, there wasn't a bunch of guys that didn't get a lot of action. I feel like we didn't see a lot of Travis Dermott, which was also a little disappointing because I think he has a personality. Frederik Andersen, him and his injury were somewhat a big conversation mid-series. So just that first episode was obviously the start of the season, new faces, and they were kind of introing the new guys. I loved when Jumbo Joe was in the car and he's listening to 590, and Brian Burke's like, they should have went somewhere else. But I was like, bro, this guy's on a minimum contract. And then, yeah, Simmons talking about him and with him was really cool. And I just thought the different perspectives of introing some of the new players, I thought that was really cool, and just seeing the perspective on that. Obviously later in the season, then they introed kind of Spezza and his family and his dad being a big Leafs fan and now openly cheering for the Leafs. So episode 1 started with a lot of the intro of the players. They did like kind of family dynamics and players later on, but they did have like a Matthews-centered thing and his parents in the first episode. So the first episode was very at the start of like the season, and definitely the struggle of that game against Edmonton, where I don't know if you guys were part of the channel at that point, but I streamed for that game and I was pissed. That game was not entertaining. It was very shut down styled, very kind of dull. And that was the game that Matthews and Sheldon Keefe had a disagreement over. Keefe was like, that's a horrific, I'm not going to say the swear words, but a horrific narrative that Matthews was saying it was safe. And then Keefe was kind of bouncing off. Edmonton was playing safe. Like, it was just kind of the disagreement. So Keefe kind of had his thing out with Matthews there, but then they figured it out. Keefe had the discussion with Dubas behind the scenes. I think that was also a cool perspective at the MasterCard Center, the office, and just seeing the behind the scenes there, the conversations with Keefe, Dubas, and Shanahan. And then as it moved on into the second episode, that's where kind of the waiver conversation happened with Jimmy Vesey. And I was like, some people had already told me that was kind of the scenario where Keefe stopped Vesey on the ice during practice. He's like, what do you bring to your team? And then Vesey kind of lightly goes, oh yeah, I think I had a decent game there in Montreal for a bit. And then Keefe just shuts him down. He's like, overall, what do you bring to this team? Because I'm just not seeing it. And then just a few days later, Buddy's on waivers. And I thought that was pretty tense. Obviously with that, but then MCKAY, I mean, this goes all the way back, but now there's a lot more context, and I've kind of spoken about it, is MCKAY was probably just frustrated all year with the ice time. And he literally had a discussion with Dubas about it. And I was like, bro, why is this guy sulking about it, man? Like, score some goals. And then, yeah, he did end up scoring a goal, like, in the next few games. But, man, this guy complaining about 11, 12 minutes a night in a role that he's not showing he should be promoted. So I also thought that part. And then, obviously, that ended up getting the Galchenyuk project going into episode 3. So, yeah, that was the perspective there. And then I just thought it was kind of funny that a lot of like the episode 2, episode 3 was like going into the Jack Campbell, all of like that stuff, and with the barber, like Thornton going, Campbell, you should be a model, from like all of that. Like we saw all the goofy sides, we saw all like the real sides, and obviously some positive, some negative, with COVID being a big thing. We saw some of the families struggling. We saw some of the players struggling with it, like primarily like Zach Bogosian, probably a big reason on why he signed with Tampa. Obviously, like less restrictions. He probably feels it's a better situation maybe for himself being with his family. But yeah, it was a tough year for him in Toronto, tough year for a lot of people that weren't able to see their families. And I was also planning to make a video regardless, and I'll move into a little bit of a discussion here for episode 4 and episode 5 that I want to focus on for the rest of this video. I was already going to make actually an update video on Mitch Marner, on my perspective, because I here's the thing. I think I was thinking I was going to be more sad and more upset with this series, and I was just kind of like, oh, I really don't. It was tough to relive it a little bit, and I imagine like some of the players definitely don't want to watch this whole thing back, but I was still planning regardless, before I even watched this, to make an update video on Mitch Marner, because I want to put belief in this guy, and I know it's tough. I know it's tough playing for your hometown team, having all that pressure, but obviously it was super frustrating, and it's been frustrating to see Marner underperform for a few years now in the playoffs. So I want to give him, like, as a fan, I want to have that open mind, and I want to believe in the guy, because I feel like it would be so special if this guy, kind of the similar thing I've said about Riley, like I want to see this guy win with this team. As much as I've said like trade this guy, and it's an emotional fan response, but obviously trade the guy if he's going to continue to just not perform, but I so badly want to see him perform, and I so badly want to see this team do well. And that's why the love-hate relationship's there, because just like they piss me off and they frustrate me, and you watch this shit, it's just, you see the behind the scenes. It's crazy, man. It's crazy what happens. Like, my heart was sinking watching Jack Campbell again cry and see the perspective behind the scenes. Campbell, you can see such a down-to-earth guy, and that was kind of also a focus, like episode 3, episode 4 was like, Campbell, he went through his struggles, right? He did not have the start to his career he wanted. And it just, it crushes me, man, because it feels like, and people can say whatever they want. You know what? People can say whatever they want, but use your brain. You know it's not even excuses. I feel for this team because so much shit went down in that center, in that time of importance. Like, say what you want, but losing your captain like that in game 1, then Jake Muzzin, who was arguably the best defenseman, or one of the best defensemen in that series for the Leafs, goes down, and we don't see him for like the rest of the game 6 and then game 7. Say what you want, but these things happening, and then Sheldon Keefe's speech.
This is it. This is the time. These are the fucking moments you're remembered for. All the other shit doesn't fucking matter. This is it.
Oh, bro, that killed me, man. The fact that Sheldon Keefe had a speech like that's shit you see in the movies, man. That is shit you see in the movies. And you could tell the boys were ready to rally around. After the Game 5 bullshit, you were like, oh, Galchenyuk's giveaway. You can't make that stuff up. You really can't. All that adversity, they came back in the series. People are like, just keep saying 3-1. Honestly, keep saying 3-1. Because I actually think, yes, it was a bad choke. It was a bad choke. But people that continuously say 3-1 in the context that this was just like a series that these guys just stopped going. Like, did they start slow in those games? Sure. But it wasn't a scenario where the Leafs were just garbage the whole time. And as much as I was frustrated, you look back and you see that response they had in game 6 going into overtime. The comeback on both games, they showed the response. Yes, game 7 was horrendous as well, the way they started. But you saw the response. It's not like they went down lying down. They didn't. Game 5, coming back down by 3, and then a bullshit giveaway by Galchenyuk after the Leafs were the better team to start that. And then in game 6, the same thing. That Sheldon Keefe speech was shit you get out of movies. And the boys were ready to play. They went on a 13-1 shooting advantage. Shots on net, 13-1 for the Leafs, and it's a crappy giveaway from Dermott, a deflection off of Bogosian, and beats Jack Campbell. Again, I've given credit to Montreal, I've said it, but watching that back, and I don't give a shit about people saying 3-1 excuses, all of that, man, it hurts, man. This was a good group, and people, you know what, I wasn't taking it too seriously, and again, I know a lot more shit happened behind the scenes that we were even seeing there, but we saw a lot. And it's upsetting and it's frustrating that we didn't get to see Jumbo Joe go for a run with the team. Bogosian, how great of a fit he was with that team. Zach Hyman, the Toronto boy, with the team. It sucks, man. It's so sad. So I'm probably adding like a couple takes in here just because I want to add stuff that I didn't talk about. So obviously the Nick Foligno trade as well, and I thought that was really cool in the background of with his dad Mike Foligno, and just seeing kind of the history of that and leading up to it, and the trade and him leaving his family, and then even Wendell Clark watching with Mike Foligno the game, and just how I think cool it was for the dad Mike Foligno to see his son Nick with the Leafs. And I think that's just kind of more heartbreaking to see the background of him now. He left to Boston, right? I mean, there was a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes there. Shanahan agreeing with the trade. I think Shanahan was a big guy for Foligno, and obviously Dubas was trying to make it work. The trade looks really bad now. But man, even like you want to feel like Foligno would have pushed to run it back. And Dubas would have tried to do something to get him back. Because, you know what? Yes, was he not healthy and he came in injured, and it was just another thing that was a bump in the road. But at the end of the day, maybe running it back for another year, that guy could have been a really good fit on the third line for this team. And then just how distraught Matthews and Marner. I talked about Jack Campbell, just how distraught Matthews and Marner were after that Game 7. Man, it's insane. And it just gives you the perspective like that. Us fans, like, we could be so mad and so distraught and so upset with the outcome, but these players, it times 100 in how they're feeling, especially for two guys like that. And obviously you can say, oh, you don't feel sympathy for them, they're the ones that let you down, or they're the ones that let the team down. But these players are so good, and it's just, as a Leafs fan, we know the pain we've been over for so many years, and to watch these good players, great players, not be able to get it done when it matters, and obviously all the shitty roadblocks and obstacles they had to face in those playoffs. It's frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. But yeah, from this series, just overall, from the goofiness of Thornton, Campbell, guys like that, and to the coffee club, the boys coming together, getting their specialty coffee going, to the golfing and bonding time of Justin Hall and Muzzin, to the cars, like, that was cool. Nylander getting the boys together. Matthews seemed pretty hyped. Just a bunch of it, man. Like, I could go over so much in this series. There's so much to unpack. I think you just watch it, right? And if I missed anything, have a conversation in the comments. Ask me a question. But I enjoyed it. It was a good series. It was a fulfilling series in terms of what you got out of it. But obviously, upsetting and heartbreaking is the right word. In terms of sports, in terms of these individuals who put a lot into it over a year, that it was a tough year. And I think it's tough, man. It's tough to see everything that went down with this team, because you know a lot of these guys, especially trying to win it for guys like Spets and Thornton, they wanted it so bad. And it was just a bounce away, as I said, and just all or nothing. Toronto Maple Leafs, man. I give it a W in terms of how great they put this together. Obviously, sucks, and people can try to meme out of it. People can try to make fun of it, but it should put a lot of perspective. If you're a human being, this should put a lot of perspective on what went down. And it wasn't easy, so. Definitely wasn't easy, and it was definitely tough to watch at some points. But it's life. And honestly, man, it's people can say whatever they want, but a lot of other teams, man, you lose a captain like that the way you did for that series. You lose a crucial defenseman like that. You have all these shitty bounces happening your way. And again, it's that line for me, with Dubas and Keefe in that final episode, talking about that fine line between winning and losing, talking about that final step, that one bounce, where in Game 5 or Game 6, all it took was that one bounce. Yes, Carey Price was standing on his head, but that one freaking bounce. In Game 5, it's that horrendous giveaway. In Game 6, it's just that small touch off the stick, a deflection off your own player, and in. That close. You watch it back and you see all these things unraveling, and you see all these things just breaking apart. You see all these things going wrong. Like, it wasn't just one thing. It was a pile of things going wrong on a pretty good season, a record-breaking season for different parts of this Leafs team in a really shitty year. In a really shitty, leading up to it, COVID year. And this team had a really good season, and what a lot of people will call a weaker North Division, but still a really good season, and had many shitty things happen at the worst time it could have happened. So, I recommend everyone watch this series. And I just think, yeah, that Game 5, man, the emotions I felt in that Game 5, I couldn't take my eyes off that screen. I could not pause it. I watched it straight through from like the second half of the 4th episode, and I just watched it straight through because that was insane. That 5th episode, they did this really well. That 5th episode was insane. The emotions were high for me watching it back, and oh my god, after that Game 1, man, it goes through all the feelings of like, oh my god, Tavares, man, I couldn't imagine his family watching that shit. And then the way the team came back, and it was just one bounce away. One freaking bounce away. Oh, there's so many other parts I want to talk about. But again, a little bit of a fan reaction, a little bit of a review. There was a bunch of stuff, even more so I could talk about. So maybe I'll make a part 2 to this. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just talk about it in the live streams. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think on the series if you did watch, or any questions you have on the Leafs going forward. Like, I'm a fan of this team till I die. And I'm watching that back, man, it breaks my heart. Because that's a team that could have gone on a run. I mean, I said the same about the 2019 team. That they were right there. This team was right there, and I do firmly believe you saw Montreal go on the run. I mean, it was a thing that Toronto Montreal teams, like whoever wins that first round goes to the Cup final. I mean, you saw what Montreal did after that momentum, and I firmly believe with this Toronto team, Tavares coming back, if that was the case, I mean, it's such a what if situation, But this team. Oh, it breaks my heart, man, that they couldn't do it with that roster and losing the players that they did. So we'll see what happens, guys. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave your thoughts in the comment section on All or Nothing, Toronto Maple Leafs. And yeah, hope to see you guys soon for the videos and streams. Have a good one. Peace out.